Coming up on SFA Now, find out about the new organization on campus, Texas Rising. Stay tuned.
Hello, welcome to SFA Now. I am Tegan Mingo, and today we will be showing you guys what Texas Rising is all about. With me is Victor Torres, a member of Texas Rising. How are you today?
I'm pretty good. A little cold, but good.
A little cold, okay. I'm not mad at that. I feel that too. So I think we're all wondering, what is Texas Rising?
So Texas Rising is a nonpartisan political organization. So basically, the whole point of the organization is to be able to educate the youth specifically, to be able to make educated decisions when it comes to voting on a lot of the major issues that are going on today. So that includes voter registration. It means putting on events to make sure educating other people and stuff like that. But the important part is that we're being nonpartisan, that we're focusing on the facts, the information, and then letting people make the decision for themselves. So.
All right, we're about to get more detailed than that for sure. So how was it introduced to the campus?
So originally started off with our president Serena and our vice president Angeles. And they met a representative from while they were in Austin, just kind of on an off chance, and they just started talking about the organization. And as soon as they found out what it was, the purpose of it, they were sold immediately. And so the organization helped them kind of get started, told them how to do it, what the process was, and then Angeles and Serena were the two that really brought it here and kind of started the movement. So.
All right, well, thank God for them, of course.
Definitely.
You did explain a little bit when you were telling us about what Texas Rising is, but what can you go more detail? What are the main focuses of Texas Rising?
Yeah, so we have 5 main focuses. The first one is reproductive health, rights and justice. The second one is immigration. The third one is voting rights, the criminal justice reform, and then the last one being, did I say voting rights already?
Yeah, you did. Yes, it's okay.
I'm blanking on the last one right now. Said reproductive, immigration, criminal justice, voting rights, and LGBTQ rights as well.
All right, that's a good main 5 focuses. So why would you say it's important to have an organization like this on campus?
Well, specifically, since the point of the organization is to try to educate the youth, that is a huge part, specifically on college campuses. Right now, we make up like about 43% of the voting population, so it's over a third. So if a third of the entire able voting population isn't voting, you're missing out on a third of the say, a third of the opinions, a third of the rights, a third of the people that deserve rights and whatever they want to get across. So when you bring an organization like this to a college campus and you focus on educating people on the facts, ruling out all the myths, all the misconceptions, you are able to, one, affect the direction of the country, and two, make things just a better place for everyone to live, because everyone is aware of everything that's going on, but they're also exercising their rights by voting and getting stuff like this across, and that's what the point of the organization is.
Which is good, because since we are a third, we kind of need to know what our future holds. If we're not impactful enough in it,
exactly,
then
because the things that are going on right now are going to affect us when we leave college. The things that are going on right now are going to affect us when we're adults, when we're starting families, when all this stuff that's going on. So it's really, really important to try to bring it to start now, so that we aren't, when we have kids and all of a sudden we see something go through Congress or go and put into place, we're not taken aback. Wait, when did this happen? Wait, when is this going on? By being educated now, we are able to affect the direction we want to go and the future we want to have for ourselves and our children. So.
And with that being said, since we are 1/3, and I know since we are college students, we act like everything else in the world is more important. How do y'all persuade people to vote?
So a lot of the times we will So we table all the time. So we're in the middle of campus, yelling, "Hey, have you guys registered to vote?" Blah blah blah. But specifically to try to get people passionate about the voting itself or the organization, we try to talk about the issues that they would care about, like the five that I listed before. So one of the reasons why I became interested in the organization and I expressed interest to Trina was I'm really big on immigration reform. As of October 17th of this year was my 1-year anniversary of becoming an American citizen. And so it is a huge, huge deal for me about immigration. And now that I am able to exercise a right to vote, it just kind of opened my eyes as to how really, really important it really is. So that was one of the key issues that got me involved, because then I started looking into it and see how can I learn more so that I'm a better, more educated American and like voters. So that's one of the topics that really got me in. But other people, so for example, the Texas Constitution amendments, we just voted on those, and that was like the mid-year voting cycle that we just did. And so one of the major issues on that, or one of the main things we were voting on in that, was to try to increase like relief for people that have been affected by like environmental issues. So for example, like Harvey, that happened in Houston. So Texas wasn't able to provide as many resources as they could to Houston, but now voting something like this into play, saying yes, we want to do this, it really affects people here. So someone from Houston, that's a really that's someone near their heart that affected their family, affected my family. And so we try to reach out and try to make the issues as relatable to the students as possible, to make sure that they understand that these are real issues and they will affect you too. So that's kind of the process that we're trying to work to try to make sure that they're feeling motivated enough to go out to the polls, to make sure they're the voting booth, to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to.
Understandable, because with finding out the importance with it, I know y'all have to have events. So what events do y'all have so far?
So far, we have done quite a few events. Each month, we kind of focus on a different major one of those 5 topics I mentioned before. So we've partnered with a lot of organizations like LULAC, College Democrats, Lumberjacks Care, Latino Student Caucus, and then organizations like that. The Go Green organization that just started up, trying to partner with things like that. So some of the events that we've put on, we've had a voter registration drive nearly every single week since the semester started, since we kind of started going, to make sure that people are still registering to vote for that midterm election I talked about earlier. But then now it just started for the elections coming up. So this is the presidential election, so you do have to re-register and do all that. Another event that we've put on was this last Tuesday, I believe. We put on a protest for DACA, and to try to educate that and bring awareness to that as well. So we were out there sitting in the 20-degree weather, 9 o'clock at night, just showing our support that the dream hasn't stopped. So that's the type of events that we try to put on.
Looks like it's going well too, of course, because I know you got to get those events out there. So like, what other future events do you have?
So we are trying to really...
I'm sorry. Let's come back in a moment to finish that thought. Now that we've learned a little bit about Texas Rising, let's go ahead and see some of the amazing events they have done.
Texas Rising is a project of the Texas Freedom Network. It builds power of young people in our communities at the ballot box. Texas Rising organizes and builds power with young people of color in a multi-issue intersectional social justice framework. Texas Rising focuses on many things, including voter registration and turnout of young Texas, organizing college campuses, youth leadership, development and trainings, grassroots and digital organizing, and issues advocacy.
Actually advocates for 5 topics: immigration, criminal justice reform, voting rights, reproductive rights, and the LGBTQ community. We just want social and equality justice.
Texas Rising is currently new to the SFA campus and currently has presence on more than 20 colleges and universities across the state. They are active in the fastest growing areas for underrepresented communities of color.
I started it August 20th officially of this year, and the reason why I actually got introduced to Texas Rising in Austin when I went for Pride, and they had a booth, and we were talking about how there was no chapter at SFA, so they asked me if I wanted to start one.
On the SFA campus, the organization has particularly been focusing on voter registration, and here's why.
Exercise our vote, we are giving up 1/3 of total population of everything that's going on, and all these policies are going to affect us when we're older, right now. So if we don't take action now, there's not going to be any change. So by the time that we're adults and have to deal with all this stuff going on, it's going to be way worse than if we didn't do anything now.
Texas Rising wants everyone on campus to be involved and focuses on being inclusive to everyone. Their main focus within the organization is to have everyone feel involved and welcomed. One of their events was a rally for DACA, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. Texas Rising united many organizations on campus to organize this rally.
Planning an immigration protest because the Supreme Court is about to do their first hearing over DACA, whether or not to get rid of it or keep it. So we're going to do a protest the day of the hearing to get our students on campus to know what's happening and let everybody know that we support it.
Not only has Texas Rising been focusing on DACA recipients, but they've also been focusing on sex ed on high school campuses. They've been advocating for high school to have sex ed for everyone, including the LGBTQ plus community. While advocating for these events, Texas Rising makes sure to advocate not only for high school students, but for college students. They want to make sure college students are informed about STDs and about things that are happening on this college campus. Texas Rising has also partnered with other organizations on campus, such as Her Campus, where they've done events like Pretty in Pink, where they advocate for free feminine products. Texas Rising wants you to know that you will be able to register to vote at any of their tabling events. This is one of their biggest things they want to advocate for. They think it's one of the most important things to do on college campuses. They think students should be very involved when it comes to voting.
Welcome back to SFA Now. If you're just tuning in, we are here with Victor Torres, a member of Texas Rising. Now that you saw some of the things Texas Rising does on campus, how can someone who is interested in joining the organization join?
So it's actually extremely easy. We are very, very open to new members at all times. We don't have dues. It's all funded through the national organization. So basically all you have to do is reach out to really you can come up to any Texas Rising member and they'll tell you that our meetings are every Tuesday at 7. It is free. Anyone's free to come at any time. And then, yeah, from there, we start informing people and getting people on the same page and getting them out to events and tabling, and then from there. So all you really have to do is just come to the meeting, reach out to anyone that is in the organization, and they'll be more than happy to point you in the right way.
All right, I might take a look in that. Would you say Texas Rising is an exclusive or inclusive organization?
I would say inclusive, 100%. If you look at our meetings, there is a very diverse group of people in there from all walks of life that have gone through many things. One of the things we do in our meetings is try to talk about that and try to highlight those things. So it's very, very inclusive. We really have a really safe space to be able to talk about experiences and how they affect us and how we can move forward from them. So I would definitely say it's inclusive.
So I did see that we had DACA featured in at the beginning. So would you say Texas Rising does anything to advocate for DACA?
So, like I mentioned earlier, we just hosted that protest here on SFA, and we partnered up with the Latino Student Caucus and various other organizations, LULAC, and basically we were all out there, surf and sea, 20-degree weather. We had advocates out there who were there with a megaphone talking about issues, getting us all motivated, talking about very realistically talking about how DACA is, how it works. And really debunking a lot of the myths that are surrounded with it.
And thank you for tuning in with us, for giving us all this information on Texas Rising. Thank you for joining us on SFA Now. I am Tegan Mingo.